Good morning, everybody. Wake up.
Wake up, wake up.
In Provincetown. This week featuring
Wake up, wake up.
Can I have some coffee?
Wake up, wake up.
Make it strong, please. Hey. Ho. Hey.
Wake up, wake up.
Ho. No, really, can I have some coffee?
Wake up, wake up.
Hi guys, it's Friday, December 9th. This is Wake Up in Provincetown. I'm Bob.
And I'm Harrison.
Thanks for waking up with us.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm so good.
What a week, man.
I know. Holly Folly was wild last weekend.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting chilly here in Provincetown. It's honestly not that bad, but
It's cold.
it's chilly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how was your week?
It was busy. I did so many things. I actually made a list because I knew I was going to forget. Usually I do one or two things a week, and I did so many things this week. Last Friday, after the show, I hosted trivia for a PTV fundraiser right here at the brewery. It was so much fun. It was a packed house. I think they raised a ton of money. They had raffle items, silent auctions. I did a few rounds of trivia. Everyone had a really good time. It was super cute.
Excellent.
And then I ran home, did a Wonder Woman spin, and came back for the dance party here. What was it called? No, Let's Dance Mary
With Sam Sewell.
with Sam Sewell on the ones and twos.
That was last Friday of Holly Folly. Holly Folly feels so long ago, but it was just a week
I
ago.
know, it's wild.
So last Friday was the Follies that I went to.
Yeah.
Which,
How was the Follies?
Oh my God, so much fun. You didn't have a video of the Follies for this.
No, we
You
have a
found
video
one?
a little later
Oh, okay.
with some Follies performances, and also one of the performances from Hung With Care. Hung With Care was a burlesque performance, so I was apprehensive to take video to air on my morning show.
Of course.
You know what I mean? But I did film the host, who was incredible, singing a Shaka Khan song, mostly because I knew Bob would love to see that.
Great. He sent me a little snippet of that. She was amazing.
Yeah. How was the Holly Follies?
You know, this was my first one ever.
No way. You didn't go last year?
No, I was out of town. So the Red-In was always open for Holly Folly until 2020 because of the pandemic. So I always used to work during it, or, you know, I have all of these Holly Folly things. And for whatever reason, I was gone last year. So I was really excited for. It was like the widest variety of talent
It looked
presented. Like there was every type of performer, and everybody was so good. Everybody had their favorite. I have to give a couple of shout outs. Eric Maul played Christmas Time Is Here from the Charlie Brown soundtrack, and you guys know how much I love the Charlie Brown soundtrack. He had an accompaniment on piano, and it was just so beautiful and pitch perfect. Definitely one of my top two, and the other one has to have been Liza Lott.
Oh, of course.
Who was just so ridiculous and hilarious, and her song cut off after the first verse, and she was like, that's it, start over, and she reset, and then they started the song over from where it stopped, and she was like, from the beginning.
Was that a bit, or was that?
I don't know. She was like, I have an Academy Award. I'm Liza Minnelli. Start it from the beginning. Just, she had us in tears. It was fun. And just to see Town Hall packed with that many people to show up for all of this amazing local talent, it was really, really beautiful.
Last year was a lot of mostly singers, which is amazing, but it was fun to see the cast this year. There was, I think, Ann Hutchinson did stand-up.
Mm-hmm.
Cute. Eric Maul played flute. It was super varied. There were a few drag performances.
Musicians, singers. John Richardson did a song from his new original musical. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
Just so, so beautiful. The spirit of the community was there in Town Hall that night.
I love that. Yeah. Hung With Care was tons of fun. It was the next day at Town Hall. It was 6 or so performers, all doing some really fun burlesque numbers, live singing. It was fun. It was sexy. Also a packed crowd again. Yeah, it was awesome.
I know this is the first Holly Folly that they've done 2 Town Hall events, right?
Yeah, both. I mean, we were saying last week how many things were going on, how many events were happening, and in the back of my mind, I was like, is there enough people to go to all these things?
Oh, yeah.
And there definitely was. I think both Town Hall shows sold out, and I think everyone's shows were really well attended. Which is
What did you do on Saturday? Just the burlesque show?
I had dinner at Spindler's beforehand. It was their last weekend open for the season. Yeah, it was awesome.
Good stuff.
Yeah. We wouldn't bother Sunny behind the bar.
Of course.
Also, before that, I went over to the Provincetown bookshop and got my copy of Kelly Field's book signed by her.
Mm-hmm.
Did you go get one?
No, what was I doing that day? Oh, I was at Harbor Lounge during the book signing, which was, I've never seen it so busy. Everything that was open last weekend was the busiest that it's ever been, pretty much.
Yeah. The next day on Sunday, I actually went and had lunch at Governor Bradford with a couple friends, and then we went over to Harbor Lounge, and it was also busy.
Yeah, it stayed that way.
Yeah. My social battery is empty.
Yeah, you usually need a lot more time alone recharging.
Yeah.
But you did it. You did the whole week.
I did do the whole weekend. Yesterday, I went with a couple friends down to Hyannis to run some errands and also scoop up Joe, returning from his triumphant weekend in Miami at Art Gazel. And I think my mood was reflective of how much social battery had.
Were you driving home like this, like, be quiet?
Literally. I was like, halfway through, I was like, I don't know why, but I'm in a really bad mood today. And both Todd and Sunny were like, yeah, we know. I was like, eee!
Yes, it's evident when you are.
Yeah. Well, it was one of those, like, we were driving down, you know that stretch of Route 6 where it's just 2 lanes with the divider in the middle?
Suicide Alley.
It is colloquially referred to as Suicide Alley.
I think it's had a good run of not being that for a while, though. Right?
No one's died on it in a while.
in a minute.
There was an accident last year or this year.
There's always accidents.
It wasn't deadly, though.
Yeah. But the speed limit is 50 miles an hour in that stretch, and I was behind someone going 45 miles an hour, which enraged me. As it does. Like, I was so confused. There's literally, I could see cars as far as I could see backwards, and this guy's just like chilling, going 45 and a 50, which is fine. Yeah, there was tons of more stuff going on this past week. Did I miss anything from last weekend? Last weekend at Spindler's, went to the Governor Bradford, Harbor Lounge. Yeah, but then there was a really fun party, a gathering, I would say, at Land's End.
Oh, yeah.
It was a cookie party.
That was Tuesday? Monday?
Tuesday.
Sunday?
Yeah,
it was Tuesday.
Tuesday.
That was fun. And Ed and Trevor made all those cookies.
Yeah, and it is the most I've got to explore at Land's End. I've gone for like really big parties, so I didn't feel like I was able to like really explore. But I got to see a few of the rooms. That place is wild.
I know.
I've heard so many stories about it being gorgeous. I'm like, oh, I'm sure it's gorgeous. And for the longest time, I hope I don't get in trouble for this. For the longest time, I thought it was very comparable to the Red Inn as far as the rooms. And
no,
I feel like Land's End really takes the cake for the like out. I mean, the Red Inn's rooms are stunning and gorgeous, and you're on the water, and it's amazing. Yeah, but the Land's End is wild.
And they're also different.
Yeah, they're super unique. There's a lot of character. I think that's kind of what sets it apart. They're just as beautiful as each other, but there's so much unique character to the Land's End. I saw that room that it's the 2 beds where one's like down around the back and the other one is like in that loft space.
The Schoolman Suite.
Gorgeous. Wild.
I know. Can you imagine living there? I feel like David Schoolman lived in there. That's why they named it after him.
Wow.
Go up and say hi, take a tour if they let you. It's crazy, it's beautiful.
Any space that has like a little balcony with a cafe table that is unreachable, you know it's fancy.
But not dusty.
Not dusty.
I know.
Not dusty.
Crazy.
Remarkably.
No, I was talking to Karen, who owns Be Well, and she's like, whose job do you think it is to dust? And I want to know. I'll have to ask Peter.
We're going to get a text message.
Yeah, I want to know the dusting schedule, how the dusting is handled, because you could spend
It's a salary position.
I'm sure, the duster. You could spend a literal day in that place just looking at knickknacks.
Oh, absolutely.
You have to start over again.
Seriously.
Right. Me and friends like to do this thing where we go in a space and we're like, oh, tag yourself, and you have to like find the thing that is you.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this little shelf in the back that has all these like, I want to say like vases, and then there's one that's just a face. It's just like a face. Oh, that's me.
A face?
I don't know if it's a vase, but it's just like in the corner a face like of a woman like staring out.
That's you.
Yeah. Yeah. But the cookies were great. It was every townie imaginable. It was really cute.
Yeah, it's nice to continue that tradition.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is what I heard that day. The cookie party originated at Land's End Inn, and then when David Schoolman or whoever started it went away, that's when Greg at the Porch Bar started doing the cookie party.
Mm-hmm.
Greg, of course, retired from the Porch Bar last year, and Stan and Eva started to bring the cookie party back right before Ed and Trevor took the Land's End Inn over. So this is something that's been going on for a really long time. Keep the tradition going, you guys.
It was really cute.
Yeah, super cute and delicious. And fun.
And then the next day, I got to see all the same people again. So we mentioned it last week, but if you were watching Halo, this was the last Halo.
Last
right?
Halo of the year.
So Halo is a party that happens on Wednesdays, which is a day that typically Cafe Heaven would be closed. So they would open up just for drinks and snacks. And then when the fall rolled around, they started adding a food component. It was burgers for a while. But this past Wednesday, Bob got to cook some really incredible Thai food for it.
2 days ago, Thai food.
How'd it go?
I think that it went really well. The preparation, well, I've never done anything like this. And because the restaurant is closed, the kitchen is off. So I had to do all of the cooking at home. And I was
fully out of violation.
I shut up. So I started prepping at 9 o'clock in the morning, like chopping alone, like literally from 9 until like 5 of 6 when I was like taking things over there. I was just working alone at home, which I kind of liked.
Yeah.
Like I had I turned on season 1 of The Golden Girls. I got through about 13 episodes. You know, they're just in the background making me laugh while I'm chopping.
That's cute.
And then I was actually really well prepared. And I have to give a major shout out to Oriana Conklin, who I saw Ori the day before at the cookie party. She's like, do you think you're going to need help? I could just come and be in the kitchen with you, and whatever you need, I'll just do it. And she did.
That's perfect. So
she and I were plating everything and garnishing it together. And I think it went really well. We sold out in just over an hour.
Really? That's quick.
It was basically, the restaurant holds, I think, 65 people, and it was like a flat seat.
Oh, yeah. My plan was to get there right at 6 because I knew something that was going to happen, especially with the way people were talking it the night before at the cookie party. And I drove past at 5 as I was like getting a parking spot, and there were already like 20 people standing outside, and I was like, oh, jeez. And it was pouring rain. And so I parked at Bubala's and then walked over, got a seat. It was a little chaotic at the beginning, but like obviously to dump that many people on any restaurant, especially a restaurant that isn't entirely unstaffed.
It wasn't really open. There weren't any waiters scheduled. So like friends of ours who are in the restaurant industry who came to eat were like, we should get up and take some orders.
Yeah. Like
Rachel and Clay just started working.
Mm-hmm.
So they were in the kitchen picking up plates, and I was like, what are you doing? And they're like, we're waiting tables.
Well, I think typically how they do food at Halo, because this was like everyone arrived at once, everyone ordered at once, but typically it's a bar that you can get food at, so everyone orders drinks from the bar, and then they're like, oh, and order me a burger, and then when it comes out, they find you, and where that would not have worked that night.
No, it would not have. And I mean, traditionally, so it's like you said, when Brad did burgers, he was like, I made 30 burgers. I made one thing, there's no variations, and when it's gone, it's gone. And I was like, I can't do that. There has to be at least 2 things. Mm-hmm. And I told Quinn, I was like, what about 4 things? And he was like, no.
Yeah.
He's like, that will be a nightmare for me. Yeah. And I was like, okay. So I made 2 things. And
they were both delicious.
And they were good. And there was only, out of the 70 people that ordered food, there was 1 complaint about too spicy. 1 out of 70, I'll take those odds. You know?
Yeah. It was spicy, but delicious spicy.
It was delicious.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I had the chicken one.
Yeah, the red curry with chicken.
Red curry with chicken. It was so good. I loved it.
Classic recipe.
Yeah, let's show the video. I took a little video of just like a lap around. You'll see how kooky Bob was at the beginning.
God, look at you guys looking.
Oh my God, that was so much fun.
It was
So
a lot of
delicious.
fun.
If you're wondering what Jen was screaming at the camera, she was very upset that she didn't get peas in hers.
So that's the thing about curry is like, if you have a big vat of curry, the peas can go to the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess when I scooped hers out, I missed a pea. And then she saw somebody else that had a lot of peas. So it was like, ah!
True Jen girl.
She came back, she's like, where are my peas? And I was like, are you kidding me?
We'll hear about it at the town meeting in April.
Thank you to everybody that came. It really meant a lot to me. I hope you guys had as much fun as I did.
We've got to do something like that again.
Well, Quinn was like, the first Halo is in April. It's going to be Thai food again.
Cute.
And I was like, we can talk about that. That
I
sounds like
want
a
spring
plan.
rolls. I know that's a lot, but I want spring rolls.
Well, we'll do those at home this winter. Yeah. But thank you,
You had
everybody.
new offers.
Yes, that's true.
What?
He said I've had other offers for pop-ups and things. I'm a restaurant now.
Me, the restaurant. What else did I get up to? I guess that was it. Last night, me and Bob did trivia, which was tons of fun. It was mostly holiday themed. I
Yep.
did my own
I
holidays.
love that the guy that it was basically one person who beat a team of 6 people.
Yeah.
Which is he had friends show up after the first 2 rounds, but he
He
wasn't
was in
alone.
first place, or
Yeah.
first or second place at halftime, being alone for
Yeah.
the first half.
Yeah.
I think because me and Bob write the questions, we write it from our perspectives, things that we find interesting. So I feel like often if people align with us in that, like
Right.
if you're kind of a pop culture junkie
Right.
with like a leaning towards like a queer perspective, like you're gonna do really well.
But like randomly yesterday, a lot of mine were like historical.
Yeah.
So like if you just happen to know who murdered John Lennon, you were like one step ahead. And I think he knew some people just know a lot of random shit.
Yeah.
And I think Scott is one of those people. So
That's one thing I love about doing trivia is learning all this random shit.
Yeah.
And then I like weirdly find myself in situations where like I know that because I read that Wikipedia page while writing questions.
Right.
And even I said a few weekends ago we were in Miami and we went to the Gathering to do their trivia, and there were certain questions that I had written those questions before, like the exact questions.
Right.
Yeah, it's fun. Did you get up to anything else this week?
Well, last Saturday, so Friday was the Follies, and then Saturday was the night that I had tickets to 3 things.
Right.
So we went to Thirsty Burlington and Mark Me In, which I basically laughed and cheered for an hour straight. I love the 2 of them, and I really love the 2 of them together. They have a really fun work relationship. It's very like brother-sister teasing kind of. But then, of course, it was going so well that they were like, one more song? Who wants one more song? And everybody's like, ah! And so before you know it, they were like, you guys, we ran long, but you all loved it, right? And we were like, yeah. And then we leave, and it was supposed to end at 8:30, and it was after 9. So I didn't make it to the burlesque show at Town Hall. Yeah, so I was like, oh, but I loved it. I loved what they did. And then later that night, I went to Tin Pan Alley to see my friends Mary and Brian. And, I met them during my first summer in town. And so whenever I'm in the audience, they always sing a song or 2 for me. So they did Moon River, which is like my Mary Callanan song. And I went up, and I shouldn't have done this, but at that point where you've had just enough to drink that you do something that you shouldn't do. So like I like went and sat on the piano bench with Brian, and then we like sang back up for Mary together.
Cute.
But then that was like a cue to other people to also go sit on the bench with him. So like on future songs, people were like going and sitting there, and I could see Brian being like,
I love that.
okay. But it was so much fun. And like every other place, Tin Pan, I've never seen so many people in Tin Pan Alley before. They totally slayed. That is a venue where the musical act is so close to the people that are watching it. So she's singing, and people are like here being like, yes! And she was like, she texted me the next day, and she was like, well, I guess I was the ringleader of the shit show last night. And I was like, no, it was great. And she's like, you weren't scared? I was scared. And I'm like, oh.
Like also the spot you stand there, it's just like, you have a spot to stand, and that's it.
But it was magical. It was beautiful. I loved it so much. And then I did everything else that you did, the cookie party, the Thai food, the trivia. And here we are.
Yeah.
Great first week of December, honestly.
Yeah, speaking of performances last weekend, should we play that video of, so there's a few performances from Holly Follies, and I threw one in from Hung With Care as well.
Said the queen, nice catch. Everywhere, oh yeah. Do what I say. Pray for peace. People everywhere. a child sleeping in the night. Let us bring him goodness and light. Let us bring him goodness and be light. From now on, your troubles will be out of sight. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Make the Yuletide gay.
That was so much fun. And then they took the show on the road. So a lot of that Folly act or the Follies act, they did it in Florida. They're doing it in Boston this
I think
Tuesday.
they're doing it in Florida again.
Yeah, and it's in. They're going to New York too.
Yes.
And Boston.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, take the show on the road.
Yeah. I know Joel performed in Fort Lauderdale at the beginning of last week. He did all of his shows in Miami at Art Gazel. I heard it was incredible. They restaged the whole show to be in a hotel room, which fit perfectly with the
fun.
theme. Yeah. So the theme was insomnia. So I heard it was
Oh,
really
that's
incredible.
cute.
Joel was really happy. He's like, it was better than the Provincetown show. He like really loved the new stage.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Congratulations, baby.
And I know you're going to have the opportunity to see that show in other cities this winter, so stay tuned.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's also like tons of stuff going on this weekend.
There is tons of stuff going on this weekend. Our dear friend Sandy Claus has her annual Christmas show tonight and tomorrow.
Sunday night there is a screening for Gay Bible, which is Tadana's movie night. It's going to be White Christmas. They're doing it at the theater. They're going to have Michael LaBruna there doing cocktails. So tickets are $25. It does include a cocktail. Tadana's going to turn it out.
Do you know what time that is?
7? Yes.
7 o'clock at the Provincetown Theater Sunday night.
Yeah. Also tonight at the Provincetown Brewing Company, the Provincetown Public Art Fund is having a gathering to announce their next project. It's 7 to 9 right here at the brewery. It is open bar, and they're also going to have food and snacks provided. The next piece is going to be by Mark Adams, and you're going to hear about all that tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also our dear friend Austin Tyler, who is our resident like Halloween expert. We have him on every year to talk about scary movies. He has his first he's doing a talk show on Sunday evenings called Sunday Roast. That's going to take place at the 1620 Brew House. I want to say from 4 to 6.
No, 7. No, it's evening.
It is evening?
7 to 8:30.
7 to 8:30? 7 to 8:30 this Sunday at the 1620 Brew House. Interviews, gossip, jokes. Yeah.
I love that.
So now this town not only has a morning weekly show, there's a weekly evening show as well.
Anne Hutchinson has a show on the 11th?
Do she?
I think.
There's also live music
something
this
else
weekend
like that.
at the club and at Tin Pan. There's always something going on here throughout the year, and just more and more of it. Do I need to continue to vamp? Are you still looking
maybe
at your phone?
not.
No?
I could have sworn. Just kidding.
I'm really happy for Tadana that she's bringing Gay Bible back, because that was something that I didn't get to go to at all this summer, and I still can't go because I'm not going to be here on Sunday.
Where are you going?
Well, tonight I'm going to Boston to see the Gold Dust Orphans Christmas musical, Little Christmas Tree Shop of Horrors, which is getting raves. I think the Boston Globe said it's their best show ever.
Slay.
I know. They always do a great job, and I can't. There's like a big group of us that go every Christmas to see their show.
Awesome.
There's 12 of us this year.
I haven't seen a Gold Dust Orphans. I think the last one I saw was the Helen Keller musical.
I don't remember that one.
Not a thing.
No, yes, it was.
Not a thing.
I swear.
I don't know about that. Talk about something else.
Let's do the Kook Toy Drive video. Then we'll come back and we'll do some news.
Yes.
And proceed.
Speaking of Ryan and Scott, who are going to be they're performing tonight. They have a show tonight. They made this video, the 12 Nights of Christmas, or the night before Christmas, as a tool to help raise money for the Kook Toy Drive, which is this upcoming Wednesday. Please enjoy this.
'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house
Not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse.
The stockings were hung by the chimney with care.
In hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. Are you all right?
The children were nestled, all snug in their beds, as plums made of sugar danced in their heads.
And Mama in a kerchief and I and my cat had just settled our brains for a long winter's nap.
When out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, I sprang from the bed to see what was the matter.
Away to the window, I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters, and threw up the sash.
The moon on the breast of the fallen snow gave the luster of midday to objects below.
When what to my wondering eyes should appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer.
With a little old driver so lively and quick,
we knew in a moment it must be St. Nick.
More rapid than eagles, his coursers they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name.
Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donner and Blitzen.
To the top of the porch, to the top of the wall, now dash away, dash away, dash away all!
As dry leaves before the hurricane fly, when they meet with an obstacle, mount to the sky.
So up to the housetop the coursers they flew, with the sleigh full of toys, and St. Nicholas too.
And then in the twinkling I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof.
As I drew in my head and was turning around, down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound.
He was dressed all in fur from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot.
A bundle of toys flung on his back
and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack.
His eyes, how they twinkled! His dimples, how merry! His cheeks were like roses. His nose like a cherry.
His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard on his chin was as white as the snow.
The stump of his pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke it encircled his head like a wreath.
He had a broad face
and a little round belly
that shook when he laughed.
like a bowl full of jelly.
He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself.
A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread.
He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work.
And filled all the stockings, then turned with a jerk.
And laying his finger aside his nose, and giving a nod, up the chimney he rose.
He sprung to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew, like the down of a thistle.
Oh gosh, go ahead. But I heard him exclaim as he drove out of sight,
Crappy Christmas!
pads.
Merry Christmas to all, and to all good riddance, pads. Good night.
We might be done.
Have fun. If you want to donate to that, the link is in the description.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But also, if you're in town on Wednesday, the Kook Toy Drive is happening live at the Wave Bar.
Yeah.
At 8 o'clock.
Yeah, we're going to chat with Mark about that in a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do some news.
Hard-hitting news.
What do we got? I mean,
We should lead off with Brittany.
Brittany. Hashtag free Brittany.
Yeah. It's Brittany, bitch.
Yeah.
She's free. She's home.
Right. I got so we've been following this story fairly closely. But Brittany Greiner has made her way home to the U.S. She touched down in Texas earlier this morning. So Thursday morning, she was released in a prisoner swap, and she was exchanged with a Russian arms dealer. His name is Victor Boot.
Boot.
Exactly. He is known as the Merchant of Death, which I feel like is
a fair trade for a basketball player.
Yeah, she's really good and really tall. I'm not trying to trivialize that, but it does seem wild.
Yeah. Well, they knew what they were doing when they were like, we're going to give her 9 years. It was a political ploy the entire time. Everybody knew that.
But President Biden tweeted early Thursday morning, moments ago, he spoke to Brittany Greiner. She is safe. She is on a plane, and she is on her way home. So Greiner was detained in February and has spent nearly 10 months in Russian prison. She was in Russia to play for a women's basketball team that she's played with since 2016. Many women athletes do this, specifically basketball players, to supplement their WNBA salary.
Mm-hmm.
She earned a little less than $1 million a year doing this, which is about 4 times the WNBA max salary.
Wow, they have a cap?
I don't know if it's a cap or if that is the highest salary.
My goodness.
Right. I don't know how Russia is able to pay that much. You know what I mean?
Russian oligarchs paying it.
Oh.
It's not the country.
Right, it's like rich people
No,
being
I
like,
know,
come, play basketball for me.
Interesting.
That's what they sound like, Russian oligarchs.
She was then sentenced to 9 years in prison and was serving her time in a penal colony that is known for substandard conditions and forced labor. In the early talks of that deal, it was said to maybe include Marine Paul Whelan, but he is still in Russian custody serving time on espionage charges.
We definitely should have gotten 2 people for an arms dealer of that magnitude.
Agree. So, yeah, the arms dealer, he was sentenced in 2012 to serve 25 years for supporting a terrorist organization and exporting anti-aircraft missiles.
He's been there for 10 years?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
No, this is the bad guy.
Oh, the guy that we just let go?
Yeah.
Oh, we've had him for 10 years?
Yeah. Well, we've had him since 2008.
28.
We've had him since 2008. He was sentenced in 2012.
Oh, okay, I see. Wow.
Yeah.
Are there that many armless people?
Mark.
Once you have two, how many more?
Stupid.
But it is a happy ending. We're super happy to have Brittany back in the States and having her be able to celebrate the holidays with her family. I can only imagine how overjoyed you must be to think you're going to spend the next 9 years doing forced labor in a Russian prison. I imagine they woke her up one day and was like, "You're going home, get dressed." Like, what a feeling.
Yeah. I bet she had an inkling that this was going to work out for her. Don't you think?
I think, especially when you're in that kind of situation, to not sink into despair, and also to know that, oh yeah, Russia's willing to negotiate for an arms deal. I'd be like,
right,
what the hell?
Good morning.
Imagine the clouds of reefer smoke around that house right now.
I hope so.
I can't wait for the Oprah interview. Whoever interviews her, that's going to be wild.
It's going to be wild.
I mean, that's like 9 months out of her life in a jail, like a penal colony.
Many years of trauma therapy.
Many years of trauma therapy, says Andrew. Before we move on, I do want to mention one other news story. You heard what they're doing in Indonesia now, right?
No.
So they just made it illegal for people who aren't married to have sex in Indonesia, and people who aren't married can't live together. So there are couples, unmarried straight couples in Indonesia who've been living together for 5 or 10 years, and suddenly they're not allowed to do that anymore. But it's really, I think, it's like an attack on the gay community. It's illegal to be gay there. So this is,
So you just can't have roommates. You either live with your parents or with your spouse.
If you are you can have I think platonic roommates.
But I mean that's tales all this time in the gay community.
Right.
Roommates.
They're cracking down. But the thing is, a family member has to tell on you. So it has to be your parent or a sibling or a child has to be my mom and dad are living together and they're not married, and then they get arrested and carted away. So much like you shouldn't pack weed when you go to play basketball in Russia, don't go to Bali. Do not spend money traveling to Bali. Do not spend money there. Don't go to these places.
Right. We live in this world where we feel like we're untouchable as Americans. Yeah. And then you, especially this Brittany Greiner situation, she went to Russia and did something that I do all the time.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Forget that you packed weed?
Right. Well, no, I remember. And I did it fully on purpose. But
yeah.
And then you're oh, it's so trivial, but you realize there's entirely different laws and standards in other countries.
Yeah, there are places that are very, very unsafe for us to go, and Indonesia is one of them. Mm-hmm. Everybody loves going to Bali. I know a lot of people that have been. Don't go there anymore.
Yeah.
You might get stuck there.
Oof.
Then we're going to have to give up more arms traders. Just saying.
We just got ratified that marriage is legal here. So
I know.
Let's not be all high on our horse.
I know.
Oh, when I talk about dangerous places to go, I mean anywhere that's not Provincetown.
That also happened this week. The House passed the marriage thing.
The marriage thing?
Wow. It just has to go to Biden's desk to get signed now, which is really exciting.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to race through a few more news stories. We had been talking about the Wicked casting for the past year or so. It was initially announced that Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande were going to play the roles of Elphaba and Glinda. There's been a few more cast announcements, such as Jonathan Bailey from Bridgerton. They've also announced Ethan Slater as Bach. He's not necessarily a household name, but he's most notable for playing SpongeBob in the SpongeBob musical.
Okay.
That's fierce. Good for him. But there's a new official cast announcement that happened this week. Madame Morrible is going to be played by Michelle Yeoh. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
From Everything Everywhere All at Once.
From Everywhere, Everything Everywhere, everywhere. Yeah. She's worked with that director before in Crazy Rich Asians.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think that'll be a really good fit for her.
That's going to be fun.
There's also a very strong rumor that it is official, but it's officially reported that it's just in talks that Jeff Goldblum is going to play the wizard.
Oh.
Which would also be perfect.
Mhm.
That would be a really, really fun cast.
Yeah, so far so good.
Also, by the time that movie comes out, Michelle Yeoh might be an Oscar winner.
We'll see.
They're saying that she is the front runner for lead actress for Everything Everywhere All at Once. Okay, I have like a minute to get through the rest of these.
News.
Celine Dion posted a video to her 5 million Instagram followers yesterday to announce that she had been diagnosed with a rare neurological condition known as stiff person's disease. She's been facing health issues for some time, and now she finally has a diagnosis. The disease makes it very difficult to sing and walk and has forced her to cancel a lot of tour dates.
That is awful. I saw her in 2019 in Boston, and it's unreal. When she's able to do what she does, it's unbelievably good and impressive. And you're just like, how is a tiny little person like that doing this with their voice?
She made that point. She's like, all I know is singing. It's all I've done my entire life. So to have that taken away from me is, I can't imagine how traumatic that must be.
No.
Kirstie Alley passed away this week. She died after a long battle with cancer. She was 71.
Was it a long battle?
I think so. Years.
Oh.
Yeah. She is a known Trump supporter and Scientologist. She also won 2 Primetime Emmys for Cheers and more additional nominations for Veronica's Closet. I mostly know her from...
Fat Actress?
No. Look Who's Talking and It Takes Two, the Mary-Kate and Ashley twins separated at births movie.
She was genius on Cheers, but she, grew into an election denier and a COVID denier. She was like, 1 million people didn't die of COVID. She was one of those.
Yikes. Okay, we have to go to the video now.
This is Cyndi Gast. You guys, I had so much fun talking with Cyndi yesterday.
Hey everybody,
this is a really, really beautiful
hanging out with Cyndi Gast. You might recognize Cyndi from The Boat Slip, or maybe from her 25 years of owning the Shell Shop. But today we're talking about Santa's store at Seashore Point, which is celebrating its 20th Christmas this year.
That's right, Bob.
Thanks for making a little time to talk to me.
Oh, thanks for having me.
So tell everybody a little bit about Santa's store.
Well, Santa's store is at our local wellness center, also AKA a nursing home up at Seashore Point. And because people can't get out to shop or they don't have the money to shop, we go up and we set up a store, and it's got different departments. And they come and they're given Santa dough, and they can buy things for themselves or their family or a loved one, anybody. They can just make choices, buy things. We have a wrapping section, we have entertainment, but no one runs out of money. They get credit if they do. And it's just a wonderful way for them to actually have some kind of interaction, exchange, and they love it. It's the biggest event of the year up there.
And you started this 20 years ago.
It was a brainchild of mine. I had a lot of help to bring it to fruition, but I had gone back to my hometown of Cincinnati, and my aunts, Exie and Faye, were in a nursing home, and they begged me to take them Christmas shopping. So I called up my cousin Stephanie. Can I give her a shout out?
Absolutely.
Hi Stephanie in Cincinnati, get back up here. So I called my cousin Stephanie. I said, can you help me take them shopping? So off we go to Tri-County Mall, 2 wheelchairs and my aunts. Anyway, if you try to get through the displays, they're all squished together. Everything's up here. Everything's expensive. They didn't know this, but they just were looking at things and grabbing them, and we were making sure they could buy them. But at the end of the day, my cousin and I were ready for a drink. Like, it was so hard, but they had a ball. They just had so much fun shopping. And so we went back to the nursing home, and all their friends came wheeling down to the room. What'd you get? I wish I could go shopping. Well, who are you giving that to? You know what? When I go back to Provincetown, this is what we're gonna do. Instead of singing, because some people should sing. That's what we've done before. It's like we're gonna start a little Santa store for them. That's how it started.
And it's grown and grown and grown, and now it's more of a Macy's than a dollar store?
Yes. When we first started, we would go to certain places and ask if they had certain stores in town, did they have anything to donate? And we would get things that were just not sellable, or, some nice things, but that's what we had in the store, because we didn't have any kind of fundraising at the time. So now we've morphed into a Macy's, and we have a raffle tree, a lottery tree, like the first Friday after Thanksgiving. And we make a lot of money that day. We have Paula the hawker who makes people shamed, like you said, if they got a $3 coffee in their hand, they're like, that's one ticket, come over here and help the people.
Thank you, Paula.
Yeah, thank you, Paula. So it's been very successful. So now we buy everything. So
Are you still raising money for this year's Santa store?
we always raise money because it's not just Christmas. We provide haircut certificates all year long. If somebody's new in the wellness center, if they need clothes, if they need anything, we provide the money. And they don't really have a big budget for like entertainment up at the Seashore Point Wellness Center. So anytime you have an entertainer, it's like $200. So we also help pay for that. So it's all year long. So yes, we're still raising money.
How can our viewers donate?
Well, they could go to Siemens Bank and write a check to Santa Store at Seashore Point. We have a Venmo. Don't know if I get this
It'll
right.
be streaming across the screen.
It should be. Oh, it will be. Okay, great. It's Santa's Store at Seashore Point at Santa's.
Okay.
And if somebody wants to come and volunteer, they can do that. You do have to take a COVID test. It's December 13th from 2 to 4, but you'd have to come about 1 o'clock to get the COVID test.
That's next Wednesday?
That's next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday.
Dear God, please tell me it's Tuesday. Or I've made some big mistake. But people, they're retail salesmen, or they're rapping, or maybe you just make a friend. You just sit and chat with somebody and help them shop.
Mark, you've rapped before. You're rapping this year too, right?
No. I am going to be Santa Claus.
Oh, that's right.
Yes. Give us a ho ho ho. He's perfect.
Skinny, beardless Mark.
He's going to have a beard. I'm going to find one tomorrow.
But I think what a lot of people don't know about Seashore Point, I didn't even know this until I sat down to talk to you today, is that it's not just the over 55 condos that we all know are there. So there are up to 40 actual wellness center residents living there at any given time.
Right. I think the census is 42 or 44, but some people are rehabbing, but at least 35 of them are actual residents. And if you are a resident of a nursing home / wellness center, the state lets you keep $78.20 a month. Like no matter what your retirement is, like you have to pay for your care.
Right.
Medicare, Medicaid kicks in for some people, but you still, that's what people are left with.
Right.
So that's another reason, to have this store, because people really don't have a lot of money up there. But yeah, it's been up there, I don't even know. We started it when it was the Manor, and then it became Seashore Point. So bad on me, 50 years,
But just to live in it is upwards of $150,000 a year.
It's $170,000 in the state of Massachusetts for a single room, and I think $159,000 a year for a shared room. But that's statewide. Like, Seashore Point doesn't set any of these prices.
Okay.
And
we're at 60 seconds.
I would also like to say that the care these people get up there, the CNAs are incredible. The nursing staff, the staff period, but the CNAs really, people up there are very lucky to have the staff they do. I mean, they're really well taken care of. It's a great place. And if you didn't know there was a nursing home, you should just walk up there and talk to Karen Thomas. She's in charge of recreation, and just say you want to make a friend, and you can come in and find somebody that's just dying to have a conversation, or some kind of interaction. So
this is a really beautiful thing that you're doing.
Well, got to make up for that bad karma in my 20s. But no, it's really wonderful, and it takes a village. I mean, there's so many people involved. Siemens Bank is a big donator. Stephen Roderick. Like people came up to the raffle. Noah Santos, $100. You know what I mean? Just people make it happen. Like the town of Provincetown makes it happen. So it's really great.
Well, thanks for chatting with me.
Thanks for having me on the show.
Of course, absolutely. So just throw them
All right.
some money on Venmo, drop a check at Siemens, and
coming back
help
to you.
Santa's store come to life on Tuesday, December 13th. Thanks a lot. See you guys.
Bye.
So like Cyndi said, this is happening this Tuesday on the Seashore Point. If you know what oligarchs can be Santa. That's a pretty good Santa. I played Santa. Oh, by the way, welcome Mark right back to the show, everybody. So Toy Drive, which we didn't think was going to happen.
If you don't know what it is, Scott Martini used to do a party called Kook, which was just like a fun wackadoodle party. And one year they decided to do a toy drive, which was 24 years ago. And then Jen White was manager of Vixen back then, which is now Pilgrim House. And they started doing it there. And then when she went over to the Grotto Bar, they did it over to the Grotto Bar. And it's basically all the weirdos in town who basically were broke got together to raise money for people who were even broker. If you don't know how hard it is to raise kids in this town, imagine you can't find a rental. Imagine trying to find a rental with a family. So basically, they got together, raised a lot of money, being drunk idiots. And then they would go buy toys that was worked out with the school system. They're like, this family, the kid wants a red coat, this kid wants boots, blah, blah, and they would go shopping the next day with the money. Over 24 years, they've raised close to $300,000, and it was direct to the families. Things are morphing a little bit this year. The needs have changed. It's less about toys and more about these families need some help paying their fuel bill, or groceries, or gas cards, or whatever it is. Also, a lot of the monies that were left over from different years went to pay for after-school programs, so kids could take art classes or, enrichment classes. So the needs are still there. For those of you who are young, queer, and say, I've never seen a kid in this town, they're there. The people that are in the back of the house, a lot of places, all have kids in the school system. And if you've gone by the school, you do see there are a lot of kids and a lot of families struggling. So this is a way to give back. A lot of performers, and I'm going to look at the list.
Does Andrew have that poster that was just released?
Yeah. We got Rod Hott is going to DJ. We got Kristen Becker, Thirsty Burlington, Anita Cocktail, Billy Huff, Susan Goldberg, Ann Hutchinson, Liza Lott, Mackenzie, Mark Meehan, Mona Moore, Tadana, Chris Wilcox, and a few other people are going to pop in and do numbers. We're going to dance. We're going to drink. The Crown and Anchor, Heather Edwards, who manages local, she was like, we really need to do Kook. She can't be there during the week when we could do this party. And I was like, I don't want to open a bar that I'm not working at. So Jonathan Hawkins at the Crown said, why don't you just do it here? So we're doing it at the Wave Bar. Jonathan is going to match the bar sales as a donation. So come out, it's $20. You're going to just get drunk. Stupid. There will be boob shots.
There will be boob shots.
Yes, Katie Ledoux. Now you have to do it. Oh my God, and Maddie, our friend Maddie, and Maddie are going to do it. I was put out a Facebook thing yesterday saying, what's the male equivalent of a boob shot? And everybody came up with really disgusting things. And Jen White's like, you can't do that. What if a parent comes? It's one thing to drink out of a girl's boobs. It's another to drink out of a guy's ass.
Boobs are meant to be drank out of.
Yes, actually, by definition, a boob is made to be drank from. Gross. Anyway, it's going to be fun, and it is, it's a towny thing. And please, $5 adds up, $10 adds up. We will have a giant stuffed giraffe from Sidekicks. I guess they had a raffle, and it was a fundraiser for something, and then the person who won the giant giraffe returned it and said, here, I don't want this, use it. And so she reached out through Abby Nishman, which we will miss Abby's boobs, but she got us, and the rest of her, but she got us a giraffe. So we're going to raffle that off to the highest bidder, and you can either take it home and look at it in your foyer, or I don't know, we'll drop it off at the school. It'll become our mascot. Who knows? Whatever.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
So, because the Grotto Bar has such low ceilings, I think after the Vixen, they had to do away with the boob shot person jumping on a pogo stick. Are you going to bring back the pogo stick?
I think the pogo, Maddie, I don't know. I think, I haven't really thought that well.
This literally bring back the
pogo stick. Yeah. Being one of those people who's like, liability. I'm not going to allow Jonathan Hawkins to be on the hook for someone on a pogo stick in his establishment. And we literally, this just happened because Jen now has a full-time job with her candle company. Scott has been doing the play in Boston, and he's taking care of his mom. So they're like, we just can't do it. And Heather was like, we have to do this. So I was like, I'll do it. So I'm taking over the mantle.
The baton is being passed.
The baton is being passed, and any of the younger folks in town who have never experienced this event, I want to bring them into the fold, and it's going to be fun. I mean, you know, the townie's getting drunk, throwing money.
With pogo sticks.
With pogo sticks.
Really good idea.
But for me to set up a PayPal account was like, oh my God, I don't know how to do this.
The PayPal's live now.
The PayPal is live. Go at the bottom of the thing.
Link in
description. Yeah.
I always wanted to say that. I know you've always wanted to say that.
But just bring cash. Bring cash, or I will have my personal Venmo, and you all know where I live, so you know I'm not shady. But we hope to raise, we've raised up to almost $30,000 in years past. I'll be happy if we raise 10, but you know, the goal on the PayPal thing is 20. You know, a martini is $17 at some places in town. Right. I'm sure you could kick in a 20.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's my plea.
The Christmas season really does bring out the best in Provincetown, I think. Like, everybody gets together, shows up, donates to a good cause.
Yeah, 100%. And I think going forward, like, it was always a ragtaggedy thing, and people got older, and you know, whatever. I mean, next year we have Holly Folly. I think it's a great event. It brings in a lot of tourists and whatever. But now we kind of hunker down like townies. So next year I'd like to do a more like townie concert where it would be a fundraiser for the organization, and hopefully next year I'll get it a 501c, and we will move on. Is that what you call that? An actual charity thing? Sure. Brad Carlson, you're going to hook me up. Yeah, I just hope people will come out Wednesday night at the Wave Bar from 8 to 10, because we're old now.
No, that's the
It used to happen later.
Oh, yeah. And everybody's like, we can't do. And so you can go to trivia at the Squealing Pig on Wednesday, and then come afterwards. And then before you go to bingo at the A House with Thirsty Burlington, who's going to pop in. You can pop into we figured people like to be out. They don't necessarily want to get out of their house on a Tuesday night to go to something. So I figure let's just do it on Wednesday and everything. The guys from the Bradford, Chris Wilcox and Billy Huff and D'Angelo, who usually perform at the Bradford for their noodle night, they're like, we're not going to do the show that night. We'll come to the Kook to support that. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
I know. Have you been to it before?
Yeah. Last year.
Did you?
We did it last year at the Red Room. Remember, Super Spreaders.
Oh, that's right.
Oops. And I want to thank Alan and Janet for hosting last year, picking up the baton too. So it is a community thing. We don't care like who wants to come and do it. So it's great.
Excellent.
Let's just get some money.
Yeah. Make that coin.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on and chatting.
Thanks.
Is that a show?
Yeah. Yes.
You guys, I think that's our show this week. Please join us next week when I won't be here. Who are you hosting with next week?
To be determined.
TBDs.
I'll be home in Delaware visiting my family for Christmas.
Fun.
Yes. We want to thank our sponsors,
Yes.
the Be Well Cannabis Dispensary, the Crown and Anchor, the Provincetown Brewing Company, the Red Inn, Cafe Heaven, the Adam Howard Metal Workshop at 3 Bradford Street, ProjectValorSailing.org, and viewers like yourself.
Yeah, thanks for waking up in Provincetown.
Wherever you are.
See you next week.
Bye.
Good morning, everybody.